Over the course of the Grand Finals weekend, the top two teams from North America and Asia Pacific regions battled it out in a double elimination bracket to reach the Grand Finals for a shot at becoming the 2020 Overwatch League champions. In this Grand Finals edition of Overwatch Microplays, we'll be taking a look at some of the smaller but no less important plays that teams pulled out to give themselves an edge. The very first map of the lower bracket finals was incredibly back and forth, with both teams' different strategies on display. Shanghai's Lip is well known as possibly the best Sombra in the league, and here we see him with EMP ready to catch the Dynasty as they walk out of the choke points for the fight. The problem, of course, is that Lip does not want to go forward in invisibility for fear of being caught and killed, or being forced to use his translocator. Thus, he remains around the choke point, waiting. Sure enough, Marvel walks out, but immediately somebody on Seoul begins to capture the point. Marvel survives, and Shanghai suddenly realize that Prophet, Creative, and Toby have flipped the point almost totally for free. How could Shanghai, the #1 team in the regular season, have allowed this to happen? Simply put, Seoul knew that Shanghai would set up for their EMP and wait around the choke. This gave them the window of opportunity that they needed to simply walk from the train side to capture the point for free.
Just do way too much damage in the middle of that fight. We'll see if Lip gears up for a hit. Ideally, Shanghai want to bleed as much time as they can off the clock. So the later and the longer that Lip can hold on to this, the better.
Prophet's going to be using Bob, as you can see, just to contest the point up. They are going to get the flip off as well. Shanghai opting to just give up the space and just let them have it.
If you still don't know who Lee Jae-gon is by this point, you're definitely missing out. The Dragon Star main support is one of the most aggressive and mechanically talented in the league, and the final fight of Busan Mecha Base on the first map provided ample opportunity to demonstrate his talent. With Seoul flipping the point at their 87% mark, Lee Jae-gon switches to Lucio to get back faster, while Lip moves to his signature Sombra. DM touches at the last second, and the 4-man dive from Stand, DM, Void, and Lee Jae-gon piles onto Creative, forcing his transcendence. Toby wants to use this as cover to resurrect Gesture, but Lee Jae-gon is instantly there with the boop. Now, a man down, and without the resurrect, Seoul lose Creative and Marvel, and then the map. Without that last second boop to deny the res, Seoul stood a very good chance of coming back into the fight, especially as the Dragons were totally without ultimates to use.
The point flipped back over, 91% now for them. The Shanghai Dragons, do they have anybody even capable of touching? It looks like DM might be able to get back on.
Yeah, DM's been forced to flex over to his trace. It has been good in the past. The rest of the Shanghai Dragons are flooding out through the low ground. Lip's gone back over to Sombra as well. Just desperation, comfort picks here, and DM's kill Gesture.
So smart though, Izayaki, the Transcendence leads them in. The Resurrect gets disjointed. So Toby didn't manage to get it off. Gesture not back in the fight. That could be critical.
Another support player who impressed in the playoffs was the Dragons' Izayaki. Here, the San Francisco Shocker on their final push to complete Hollywood, and Violet, as Violet does, finds an early pick onto Void. The earlier Lee Jae-gon goes into Therese, the lower the chance that San Francisco will be able to rush forward and deny it, so he flies in immediately. Izayaki immediately pops his Transcendence to cover him, and positions himself almost on top of Lee Jae-gon. This body blocks the hook from Super, allowing the res to go off safely. Thus, Shanghai's one-man disadvantage was negated, instead of turning into a two-man disadvantage. All thanks to the hero Transcendence from Izayaki.
Arrows, tons of burst damage with Discord Orb. They're actually jumping down to push the cart, but they're not getting much distance.
Flux comes in, Void's already gone. Transcendence has to be used to get the pull in onto Izayaki, trying to deny some of that healing from coming through, but gets straight back over to Lee Jae-gon to ensure the res goes off.
Kings Row A has been the site of many famous set plays, and we've covered some of them before, including the Great Bamboozle and the Gladiator's Perfect Orisa Shield. Teleport rotations are a little bit more modern, and the Shock pulled off their own to rapidly cap point A for free in the Grand Finals against Seoul. This teleporter to the high ground is nothing new, but what is interesting is how the Shock play from there. Super and Violet push from the bottom, forcing Marvel away and gaining control of the Mega Health Pack, while Choi Hyobin, Striker, and Moth move to the high ground, which forces Seoul snipers away. Now, with full control of the high ground, the only angle Fitz has is through the archway, while Prophet and Toby waste valuable time wrapping around to find another angle. This means Marvel and Gesture are forced to retreat, as they are surrounded from all sides. Ons is firing at them through a narrow gap in the hotel with his Widowmaker, Super and Violet are already on point, and Choi, Striker, and Moth are above them. Sure enough, the Seoul's tanks fall rapidly, and San Francisco cap the point inside of 3 minutes. Thus, this great teleporter play denied Seoul's DPS any kind of sightlines, corralled their tanks towards the hotel where they were easily surrounded and taken down, and allowed the Shock to easily take point A and give themselves a massive time bank.
He's gonna get the TP out. They're gonna try and get this high ground. Now you'll see him go back and switch off of this.
Marvel's been also shifted from his initial spot, and the San Francisco Shock have been able to pull off a little bit of a do-si-do, and they've caught Marvel on the low ground. This is the disaster for Seoul. Arguably the most durable, the centerpiece of their team. The Sigma's been taken out, and Gesture followed right after.
Sometimes a map, game, and championship can turn on a single unfortunate play, and Violet's jump on Watchpoint Gibraltar was very nearly that devastating play for the Shock. The Seoul Dynasty have managed to complete the Shock's own map pick on their attack round, and the Shock are just seconds away from being full held and letting the Seoul tie up the series 2-2. With the final fight approaching, Violet has switched to Baptiste, so his Immortality Field can deny the incoming Nanoblade from Creative and Prophet. Plus, the last time he popped Transcendence against the Nanoblade, Prophet managed to find a double kill anyways. The Shock's only hope of surviving this is if Violet can deny the initial damage with his field and they manage to instantly hook or headshot Prophet, which, thankfully enough, is exactly what happens. Super finds the hook onto Prophet, takes him out, and negates two powerful ultimates in the process. In the meantime, however, Fitz wins the Widow duel against Once, forces Striker away, and now the Shock are split between the tanks on the cart and the DPS trying to find angles to pressure away Fitz. In this process, Violet makes a fatal but completely unintentional mistake. Jumping almost entirely on instinct, as you should on Baptiste to make it easier for your healing grenades to hit your teammates, he jumps out of the way of Creative's Bionade, allowing it to pass under his feet and hit 4 members of the Shock. If he had not jumped, the Bionade would have hit him instead, causing it to ante only 1 person instead of 4. As it were, that nade completely ended the Shock's hopes. A hook onto Super, followed by a sleep onto Choi Hyobin, all but sealed the fight and the map for the Seoul Dynasty.
Still, there'll be some time for San Francisco to set up. That's the Nano Boost now. Strike. Oh my God! Super gets the hook. It's traded out though. Now on the card, it's going to be an accretion over towards Jester, and Fitz is going to sit in the background, finds a shot towards Striker, but has to get out of line of sight. But overtime is ticking down, and Jester was there with the whole hook, but it's not enough to stop the Shock. Big biotic grenade, a huge one from Creative. I can't believe he's come back and managed to take this over. The underplay is filthy, and the Dynasty get a second map. This is a match!
And that's all for this episode of Overwatch Microplays. And congratulations to the San Francisco Shock for winning the back-to-back title. What was your favorite moment from the Grand Finals weekend? And who impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you to Expressvpn for sponsoring this video. Much like us, whether it be on your PC or your phone, you're probably spending more of your time online while staying safe indoors. While doing so, your personal information is at risk of being tracked and sold by advertisers, ISPs, and 3-letter government agencies. We enjoy using Expressvpn because it gives us that extra layer of security now that our team has shifted to working more at home. By blocking your ISP from seeing what you're doing, Expressvpn lets you reroute your connection through one of their many servers around the world of your choosing. Even by installing it on one router, you're able to protect everyone on the same network under one subscription, even if they don't have Expressvpn themselves. To find out how to get started with 3 months for free, check out our link in the description box below at expressvpn.com/action. This video is also made possible thanks to you guys, our wonderful patrons. A massive thank you to everybody on this list, and shout out to Arknox, Sammy, Shampoo, Weeaboo, Nathan, Nate, Mauve, and Sierra for being platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Raffy, Noodles, and Marco for being diamond supporters. We say it time and time again, but thank you everybody. And an extra special shout out to Undead Streaming for being our Grandmaster supporter. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below, or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Nikita, and thank you for watching.